Hi, welcome to the video. Welcome if you're currently here in the live premiere. Today we've got a bit of a news update as well as some serious talk, okay? We're not messing about today. Got to address a few things. As of just in recent time, there have been some serious accusations, allegations in the name of warlike wrath. Basically, people, the odd person slandering my name, going against YouTube TOS, which probably isn't a smart thing to do. More about that later in this video, make sure to stick around. We also need to cover the latest with Bette Hayward, as when I was catching up on last night's video, people were talking to her, but I couldn't see her. But now I know why. That will be explained and addressed later in this video. You can already tell by the title, the pattern and theme of this, okay? We've got some serious time. I'm going to talk about some key things. I'm going to be presenting some screenshots as well of the odd individual in the matter, right? I think what we'll do to start things off, we'll just simply look back at the comment section of yesterday's video, okay? Just to allow people to join on in. I know not everyone joins at the same time. Some people are very late. Some people turn up when the video's ended. So just try and get as many people present right now, just so awareness can be spread at this moment in time, because it's very important and it's very serious, okay? Could you say it's another salty pancake situation of accusations and all this being thrown out? You could say that, but this time it's more targeted to one person, and that's me. With the pancake situation, throwing it out to anyone left, right and centre, it was a bit more casual, that, okay? But this time it seems maybe some people have a few obsessions with me, or something dark is going on in the background. So this is in relation to Bob Farrell as well, because it's where it originates from, the problem. So hopefully, Bob Farrell, you are watching right now. If not, hopefully you managed to catch this video later. We'll be addressing everything later on in this video. So just, be patient and we'll get there, okay? So also what I want to say, before I forget, shout out to Badger and I believe Cleo as well for the presents last night. It was very good of them. Appreciate it. Good people. And as well, you yourself, if you need to escape from dark reality, you need to escape from tension, conflict, trouble, feel free to check my video out I did last night, the latest vlog of Degen Island. It was very wild, a bit crazy, all kinds of stuff happened. I'll provide a link down below in the pinned comments section, okay? As of recently, I just want to highlight another key point because it's just as important. With the different cases I've been covering here and there, on and off, okay, I'd say I've established a certain pattern, right? Kenny Veach, M-Cave, more at the top in terms of popularity and focus, followed by Dylan Rounds. Not as much in terms of views, but more so live viewers and just people's presence significantly stronger, okay, that needs to be acknowledged. And then maybe Aidan Clune, and then Idaho 4. I'm basing it in terms of levels of activity, okay? When you do videos, you want the best outcome, you want awareness to be spread, and you want people to be informed about the stuff. By covering something which doesn't reach out to people, mainly because people can't be bothered watching, or it doesn't interest them, it's pointless, right? So because I've got an idea of what works and what doesn't, I know what to prioritize and what to do in between. Hopefully people understand that. When it comes to the more outside of the box videos, the light-hearted ones, the fun ones, I feel that can be done anytime. In terms of levels of importance, it can vary, it can be anywhere. I'd say it may even exceed it because it's more fun to do and people tend to enjoy it more, okay? So try and keep up with that as well. Anyway, because we've got that done, let's just look back at the comment section of the previous video. You might see the odd comment with the odd keyword. Just take it into mind, because I have noticed a pattern in recent time when it comes to people attempting to insult me and / or label me, okay? Everybody watching right now, just try and be as focused as possible and let me know if you notice any patterns. You might have to also look back at previous videos I did, and I'll give you the clue. The last Idaho 4 one, okay, there's levels of resistance there as well from some people, okay? Certain crossovers with insults but on different accounts. Is it all tied to one person coming after me, or is it just a wave of random people? And the key question would be, where did they originate from? Of course, okay? In the past, we've had waves of just some people from Earthworm Infotainment who have been a bit toxic. The odd few from Salty Pancakes channel have been a bit toxic. The odd one from Jim Terry's channel X's community, a bit toxic. It can vary all over, right? And then some of the hardliners with Candice Cooley's following, okay? They've come in waves. We've seen the behavior, we've seen the patterns, we've seen the trends, and then they've faded away. And it becomes predictable with time. I just want to try and understand what this current wave is, okay? If anyone does know, feel free to explain down below, right? Just so we get an idea of stuff. And of course, as we do go throughout this video, make sure to share your thoughts, opinions, reactions in the live chat, okay? And you can talk about a range of other bits and bobs in between, right? So without further ado, let's check the comments out of the last video. Right, so I'll just arrange the comments to the newest. Just one thing I want to highlight very quickly. Watch Your Crazy, are you present? Watch Your Crazy, hopefully you are. Just wanted to acknowledge that you are allowed. You can use my footage from that island vlog video I did, okay, and the other ones in between. You can if you want, as long as you just like give credit to my channel name in your video, that's fine, okay? As for guidance, if you want to react to the videos or incorporate them in your streams, you're welcome to as well. Provide a certain point of view perspective of how the island is going, okay? Just wanted to acknowledge that. Now let's check the comments. So we've got whatever saying, hey, ready to laugh. How do I know the conversion for a super chat? So if you're talking about currency conversion, I guess if you, well, actually, I provided a link there. So whatever, if you want to check that link out, maybe it can help you. I think on YouTube as well, you can change the currency if you go into settings or something. I have seen it in the past, and I don't know if it was people from that actual country or they changed their location and changed their currency. But what people have done in the past as a bit of a prank, they've donated like 6 million something of a different currency, which actually translates into like £60 English pounds. Or someone might have donated 10,000 yen, and it might not be as much as you would expect. Does that make sense? I think it is interchangeable. You can change it about, right? And just let me know if that link does help, if that's the correct one. If you need to explain further, feel free to do so, and maybe it can be resolved. Indiana, ma'am, there's a creepy guy down in the back gardens. Call the police. It's okay, darling. It's just the nutter from next door. Excuse me, Indiana. Have you known I'm not just a nutter, I'm a pistachio nut. Get it right, Indiana. Okay? Tasha T, remind Indiana of how much of a pistachio nut I am. Okay? Laugh and the world laughs with you. It's better that way than the other way around. I forgot which the other one is, to be honest. Anyway, here we go. Who's this? Jamie Moore 8740. Your face make my skin crawl. Your channel is so cringe. Obviously an incel. Okay, so Jamie Moore is labelling Warlike Wrath an incel. Now, the word incel has been used, I believe, in the Idaho 4 video I did as well, but it was different channels that were labelling me that. So that's the pattern I'm talking about. I don't know where it truly originated from or what the motive is behind it. When I have covered the Idaho 4 case, I've not gone in too deep, but maybe it's one of those scenarios where the deeper you go, the more you question, the more you demonstrate balance, which the majority of the human race fails to do, the more resistance you may receive. So it's kind of telling signs as for maybe that community. But Jamie Moore seems to be just somebody else that's coming out with similar stuff. I guess we can check his channel out shortly. He also says, I think you have lost your mind, buddy, and I think there are many folks who know this. Do you know what I think, Jamie? Your spelling and punctuation is abysmal. A pathetic joke. I think you need to go back to class and learn some standard English. You think you can do that? Or is that too hard to understand in its own right? What else do we have? On the sidelines, that gobble though. So I guess some people like the turkey sound, so that's good to know. Let's see what Indiana has said, because I think this is quite important in its own right. Everyone focus, everyone in the chat, listen up. Indiana has returned back with a kind of poem, okay? Let's begin reading. The sand crabs, it started with an itch, then a scratch, then the little blighters started to pinch. Miss T first started to walk, then into a fast run as she started then to flinch. Ran into the sea, ripping off her bloomers to get herself some needed relief, where those darn flippin' sand crabs were enjoying giving Miss T some grief. Dale was on the beach laughing, wearing his slacks. That was until the sand crabs filled his slacks. All you could hear was his loud shrills. It's Miss T's turn to laugh now as Dale waddled down to the water's edge. Dale could not get his slacks off. The sand crabs were well wedged. Watch her crazy watches this from her own handmade hammock in a tree. With intelligence from those pesky, nippy sand crabs, she was more than free. The moral of this tale is, when on a beach, never hang around upon the sand unless you want to experience those damn darn nippy sand crabs firsthand. Woo. So there we go. Indiana back with the poems. A poem, a special one to do a Degen Island. Everybody in the chat, let me know your thoughts to what you think about this poem. Is it good, relatable, accurate? Does anyone else want to add in some poems of their own? Or if that's not quite good enough, Matt Bussin Lingo want to get some rapping out. Not the wrapping paper, but a sheet with words on to read out. Feel free to do so, okay? But let's just briefly return back to Jamie Moore. Now, Jamie, that is a male's name, correct? But it can also apply to a female too. So let's just check the profile out. Only 2 comments, joined 6 years ago. So it's not like one of those fake accounts on the spot. Okay, so of course, no content nor contribution to any missing person case on their channel. A dead-end default profile, no surprise there. We just check the playlist. By checking the playlist, you get an idea of what this person is about, possibly. So they've got one playlist there called BITD Cage. Does that mean bird cage, but they spelt it wrong? I don't know. What's that? Year-old caught in the middle of parents arguing. Trying food gadget hacks to see if they work. People who got lucky with food try not to get uncomfortable. SS Sniper Wolf, I think a bit of a narcissist in terms of their, their approach. The disturbing case of Nico Jenkins, the case of Samira Fresh. Okay, so a little bit of true crime there, not getting too much from it. Ornaments. You mean ornaments? Cornstarch dough ornaments. So once again, this person, Jamie, who's listed there and titled their playlist, has spelt the word ornament wrong. So once again, they seem to have a spelling issue. Not good. What's this one? Whatever you say that is. Fairies, revenge, and unannounced visitors. The hare, the owl, and the giant toadstool. So you're into owls? Well, Bette Hayward is probably going to be disappointed in you for how you behave. But you're into fairies. Okay, you stick with your fairies. Why don't you go and find Peter Pan, okay? So Jamie is into gardening from the looks of it, how to plan a full garden, how to grow a resilient garden, how to spell properly. I think you might need to add that to your playlist as well. Amazing concrete, how to build a woodshed. So yeah, when it comes to gardening, I can imagine the likes of Tom Evans, Weezer, tutting, rolling their eyes back with this person. I'm not surprised. Jamie seems to be into history, but once again fails to understand the history and backstory of Warlight Ref's channel when it comes to dodgy, light-hearted videos and then very serious locked-on ones. So they're obviously not studied properly enough, which is no surprise. They're into pyramids, ancient Egypt, Atlantis, okay, first time exploring, right, okay. Withdrawal, okay, so is Jamie going through some kind of addiction problem, possibly? Day 4, Suboxone withdrawal, okay, whatever that is that a type of drug or something? Who knows? But, if Jamie is possibly relating to withdrawal side effects, it could explain their petty, negative, toxic attitude, okay? Maybe they just need to sit back, calm down, and start thinking before speaking / typing, okay? What else? Fight Jamie, keep on going. Right, okay, so they could be experiencing some issues. Let's just check the song titles, because sometimes when you look at people's music playlist, it can reveal a side of personality behind them and their attitude. Okay, Fight Song, Conqueror, Lake. So not much music here, to be honest. So maybe they're in a downfall period, or they have already been in the past. They're going through waves of it on and off, and they need something to be able to get them going and push them forwards. Like this, the playlist Get It, Dua Lipa, I Don't Give a Beep. Okay, bit of an attitude. Rita Ora, Anywhere. Okay, How to Eat Tofu. Appears to be in a odd playlist here. How Drew Barrymore Beat Family Addiction. So we're seeing that pattern again with Jamie to do with addiction. But what type? Drug addiction, alcohol addiction, or something else? And how your info stays safe with Google Play. Okay. What else do we have? Gwen All Day. Right. Okay, so it's that celebrity Gwen. Make Me Like You, Where Would I Be? Obsessed. Well, maybe that's kind of applying to here. Obsessed with Warlight Ref and being negative. Where Would I Be? Together. War Paint. No Doubt It's My Life. No doubt. Hella Good Underneath. So is this like following a female pattern? Because there's a lot of female music, female related videos. That could explain why they're using the word incel when describing Warlight Raf, because it's the opposite gender, having some kind of grudge or disagreement towards Raf for whatever reason that is. Holy F. What's this? Dating mental illness. So this could explain Jamie going through some rough times. Love is a dirty thing. Be my next mistake. Simon Push's golden buzzer. Britain's Got Talent. So is Jamie Moore from the UK? It wouldn't surprise me, I'll be honest, because people from the UK tend to have issues with me for no apparent reason. I've experienced all kinds of negative encounters with people from the UK, both in real life and online. When it's come to me uploading short videos on TikTok or YouTube, the short section targets the audience from the country you're from, the UK. And most of it is resistance, negativity, people calling me this and that, okay? And yet when I've done my normal videos where it's applied to a wider audience, mainly the US, it's been more positive. I do genuinely feel that people from the US are more nice to me than people from my own country. I do appreciate it. Even during the days of playing on Xbox, I remember going online, joining the Xbox Live parties, playing Battlefield, Call of Duty, matching up with maybe like a clanmate or joining a little party. People from, I guess, the US, pretty good, pretty nice at the time. It was all smooth. And then when it's the UK, oh, I come from the UK. What are you doing? I'm going to call you out. Yeah, there's a big difference. That's what I would say. Anything else? Let's do it. Okay, so sexual frustration, that could be tying in some way. F you. So you never know, this person could be going through some kind of drug-related or alcohol-related issues of addiction, coping with whatever other issues are going on or side effects caused because of it, as well as maybe some relationship issues on and off, hence why we've got certain playlist and music titles about relationships and maybe sexual frustration as well, building in the background. Runaway. Hey, how could you leave us? Only one, you're special, outcast, grinding, mansion. Okay, so we've got a bit of what, like rapping maybe? If you want, start over, chandelier, tofu once again. They must have an addiction to tofu probably. Sam Smith, how do you sleep? How do you identify it should be? Sam Smith, for the love that I lost. So could have lost someone. Music acoustics. What does Jamie have here? Obadia Paka. Hey ya cover. I still haven't found what I'm looking for. What, the spelling book? Fast car. Why not slow down a bit? You're going to trigger the speed camera. Bon Iver. Skinny love. Okay. Dancing on my own. How to save a life. That one. James Arthur. Say you won't let go. Hallelujah. Is that Tyler Fella? If I Die Young. Okay, so, and what's the one? Best. Antonella Gonzalez. How to live, what? With something. And dating mental illness. Right, STIs aren't a consequence. So, has Jamie experienced an STI or knows someone that has an STI inside all of us? Okay. Right. I've singing there, stories, mental illness once again. I think we're seeing a pattern now. Mental illness and addiction. I don't have anxiety. I don't kill yourself today. Okay. We've got another one. His voice is so emotional. I think that's the X Factor UK. So it seems likely that this person is from the UK. They might have a mental illness or once did. They've got some kind of addiction as well. And they're basically just outpouring their negativity towards me by falsely labelling me something and almost like slandering my name, going against arguably TOS on YouTube once again. Congratulations, Jamie Moore, not only for spelling poorly, but also for not thinking before speaking and typing. So once again, another impetuous individual demonstrating egocentrism with a default dead end channel with zero contribution and zero coverage of a case. Okay? So that pretty much sums up that person. Okay? Let's move on. Right, so we just move that aside. Welcome if you have just suddenly joined. make sure to rewind back to the beginning of this video to understand every single point of this video. It's very important and it's also very necessary, okay? But for the people that are still watching, I appreciate people's patience. What we are moving on to now is the main part of this video in general, the theme of it, okay? So Bob Farrell, whether you're present or not, Bob Farrell, we have a bit of a problem, okay? From what I've heard in most recent time, as well as screenshots being provided, a certain someone or two supposedly has an issue with me. Instead of directly sharing their grievances with me, such as in the comment section on my channel direct, they've ended up doing it on your channel, Bob Farrell. Maybe you're already aware of this. If not, just wanted to point it out to you, okay? Of course, Bob, you have your own way of dealing with these individuals, but it's also very important for me to raise this awareness and this issue going on just to defend myself, okay? It is one of those things where it can fade out and you can ignore it naturally, but when it comes to serious moments like this, it needs to be talked about and just simply explained, and that is all. Just like how I've done with the pancake situation of being labelled a trafficker, and you know how other people were labelled as well. And then in the past, when my name was slandered in a slanderous way, false allegations made during the Kenny Veach case, I had to do the same there, and it had to be taken seriously, okay? It's been done in the past, it'll be done once again right here, right now. So hopefully, Bob Farrell, you are listening in. And this is all in regards to your last live stream you did, okay? Now, I didn't watch it, so I wouldn't have known about this, but a couple of people were watching at the time, okay? And it was to do with in the live chat. A certain somebody known as Kathy and Axel. Kathy and Axel, okay? And there might have been some names, references to Rainbow Melon as well. I don't know what part they play personally, but I heard their name come up too. I guess they are friends with Kathy and Axel, so maybe one defended the other when mentioning a certain slanderous claim in my name. Okay, Bob, are you following at this moment in time? Do we provide the backstory right now or after? Well, first of all, it's important I provide a backstory, then it may make a little bit more sense for the resistance in some overblown, out of proportional way, okay? Hopefully, everyone is listening and focused right now. If you're not, feel free to do so to understand in here, okay? So, how long ago are we talking now? Let's say about a week or two ago when I did my coverage and video of Bette Hayward, her situation, her scenario, what she was going through at the time, Trapped. You remember that one? It was the thumbnail, the aesthetic one, where it was a purple outline. You had Bob Farrell on the thumbnail. You had Bette Hayward as well, and it was like a dark purpley galaxy effect wallpaper in recent time. And it was just looking at like a range of different things at the time to do with Bette Hayward, some of the bits and bobs, and as well Bob Farrell as well. And I was referring to, at the time, his disastrous, chaotic live stream he did. Not the last one, but the one before it, I believe, okay? And if not that, the one before that. And it was just like when Bob was doing his live stream, Watcher Crazy was talking and stuff, and then later on Jim Terry joined. There was a bit of drama, conflict, back, forth, and then it subsided. And then later on into the live stream, it happened again, and then Bob Farrell had to cut the live stream short because it got out of hand. Do you remember that, Bob Farrell? Yes? Well, within that video I did about it, I looked at the comment section, or one of the community posts on Bob Farrell's channel. All publicly available, all publicly available. Every single comment by a person with their username, their profile picture, whatever it may be at the time, is all publicly viewable, all within public information, all legal. Nothing wrong, nothing dark, nothing like that. All legal, above board, if that's how you call it, okay? But it seems as if that because I read the comment section out of that post, some of those named individuals that left comments have an issue with me now, which is, I believe, Kathy and Axel, okay? At the time when I was reading out their comments, Kathy's comment and Axel's comment and some other account created by them but in the name of their pet cat, trying to create some kind of fantasy that that cat is in control of their own account. Kind of like what those trendy, quirky people do on Instagram to create a page for their pet, their animal, to make it look all nice and cute, okay? Sometimes a little bit delusional. Other times it's just in a light-hearted way, right? When I looked at the comments of Kathy and Axel, if I'm correct in saying, I could be wrong, feel free to correct me, but I'm sure within one of the comments it said something like, Jim Terry is my master, or my master is calling and I will keep on running for him. And I was just sensing, was there some kind of like power dynamic change, a level of submissiveness, maybe being a furry where you dress up in a costume, bend over backwards, have a like a dog collar around your neck or something, and look up to someone and say, Daddy? You know, something like that. But in the end, it appeared that wasn't the case, okay? And I did refer to Kathy at the time in a light-hearted way, and it was obvious. Like Kathy, oh, how many Kathys are we going through? A Kathy Waters, a Catherine S, or Catherine H, whoever that one was who had a problem with me in the past, and now Kathy and Axel, okay? Now Kathy and Axel seems to have a problem with me, just simply because I read out some public comments, okay? You might think it's ridiculous, but this is not the first time, okay? In the past, the very beginning of the Dylan Rounds case, when I started covering it, when I covered something to do with salty pancakes at the time, went into the community tab section on his channel, checking through comments and stuff like that, just because there was a theme or a bit of news at the time that we needed to look at and assess. All public information, all publicly viewable. And yet Salty Pancakes, before he truly knew me, came on over to my channel with 3 to 4 of his bitch boy posse group, included Star Jasmine and 2 other individuals, 2 other prats, potato pickers, who then started whinging and whining a 4-on-1 situation in which it was like 2,300 hours. It was almost my bedtime, and I had to neutralize the situation on a 4-to-1 basis ratio. It was under control, it was resolved, and it was okay in the end. But do you see the resistance it can cause simply covering and looking at the comment section of somebody else's channel or the community tab of someone's post? How resilient, how defensive people get when their comments are publicly covered or talked about, even though it's all publicly viewable, it's all within the public eye. Okay, you haven't really got a leg to stand on, or should I say in this case, much of a tail, okay? You get what I'm saying? But that's kind of like the backstory to why this recent individual, this recent character started calling me out in your latest live stream, Bob Farrell, okay? Do you follow up to now, at least? Does everyone in the chat follow this story up to now? Let me know. If not, if you're a bit confused, rewind back until you get the idea, I guess, okay? So because of that resistance, it led to, I guess, a negative outlook and impression from their perception on me. But it's more to do with what they've said about me publicly on your live stream, okay? Slanderous, going against TOS, falsely accusing, false allegations, accusations, this and that. Kind of like what we've seen in the past, but this time round, it's more targeted towards me and only me, okay? So what we're going to do now is look at some screenshots of that chat log from last night or the night before, whenever it occurred, and read what Kathy and Axel had to say about me, okay? Apologies about the screen ratio aspect. It's, I believe, vertical, but it should still be clearly readable. If not, I can zoom in on the screen, okay? Is everyone ready? Good. Let's head on over right now. Right, so here we are with the first screenshot. As you can see up above was the video of Bob's live stream at the time with Bob himself, Watcher Crazy and Snooks or Snooks. I think some people have called Snooks out in a negative way, whatever. I don't really know much about Snooks, I'll be honest with you, just simply because I've not been around them much, to be honest. I think Snooks might have popped into my live chat in the past during my live video premieres. They didn't cause me any trouble, so I appreciate that. A little shout out to Snooks in that regards. As said, only based on my experience, what I experience, others may not, okay? But more focus on the live chat replay, okay, as you see down below. First of all, is there any names that stand out to me? Little Willow, never heard of before. Melissa DW. I don't know if I have come across them before. I have come across Melissa, but there was a time where they said, you're saying it wrong. It's not Melissa, it's Melissa. Something like that, okay? I think it was around the Bella V days, that Melissa. I don't know if that Melissa around Bella V at the time is the same Melissa here. If anyone can clarify, clear it up, feel free to do so. They have a profile picture of a cow or a bull. Then you've got Rainbow Melon, okay? Rainbow Melon, they did leave a comment on my channel in recent time, and it was a bit of a paragraph. But when I tried looking for it, it's no longer there. I think Rainbow Melon may have deleted it. But to put in summary, what Rainbow Melon said before this issue was, "Hi, Warlike Raph. You probably remember me. I was once present in your community at the time, but I decided to leave and move on because I just couldn't stand the stillness. I couldn't stand the feeling of being trapped, like how you are in this empty room. I just wanted a change of scenery." That's basically what Rainbow Melon said. You know, the reality is, one is in their bedroom when recording, because that's what one does when they are in an environment where, you know, there's not much obstructions and it's better audio. Okay, in the past, I used to do it in the shed outside, but because of the trains and the planes, the squirrels, the pigeons, neighbours, etc., it just wasn't working. It wasn't practical. So you move elsewhere and pick the best appropriate environment, which works here. Okay. But I guess probably because of the walls or the background, they wanted a change of scenery. Though, to be honest, when you do go onto other live streams and live call-in panels, what backgrounds do they have? A dark black hole abyss or a still wallpaper? A few profile pictures without any faces being truly shown. Is it a step up? Is it much of an upgrade? I don't think so. It's just, in its own right, unique to like how mine's unique, okay? But Rainbow Melon also pointed out saying, hey, don't be referring to Kathy and Axel in regards to Kathy Waters or the other Catherine or something. I think basically Rainbow Melon got a little bit defensive because Rainbow Melon is friends with Kathy and Axel, whoever they are, okay? Obviously, Rainbow Melon, despite being around on my channel in the past, even now I can't even remember their presence or existence on my channel. It might have been short term. For their time watching, shout out to Rainbow Melon. It's good of her to have watched my videos in the past. But the problem is, Rainbow Melon, is if you haven't been around long enough, you've not established those thought patterns, the mental notes within, the neural pathways within your mindset, okay? The reality is, if you are around on my channel active, you'll understand the patterns and methods and structures and foundation of my videos, the specific wording, language, different points of views, everything, okay? The individuals that constantly watch godlike people with a better understanding of how things are. Though if you're a part-timer, you pop in and pop out, you're not going to understand the full story. So maybe that's the situation with you, Rainbow Melon, okay? Maybe if you look back at previous videos, do a bit of research, it might help you understand, okay? As for Kathy and Axel, never come across them before on my channel, okay? We've got Blue Diamond. I have come across Blue Diamond on my channel. They've been okay. They've been somewhat positive. They've not caused any trouble. So shout out to Blue Diamond. Anyone else there? Gen X. Not really heard of them before. Rhonda. Not that Rhonda, but there was another one, wasn't there? So just completely on the spot. Does anybody remember a Rhonda? Spelt that as well, Rhonda. Does anyone remember that person called Rhonda who was on my channel in the past in the live chat and then they just disappeared, faded away? Does anyone remember that? Let me know in the chat if you remember a person called Rhonda. Her profile picture, I assume, was of her face. It was like a side profile close up to the camera and she was kind of smiling. Her YouTube profile page, her background channel art was, I think, like historical, okay, to do with history in the past. If anyone remembers, just let me know, because that's yet another person that's gone missing in action over time. And I've not seen them for over months, many months. So just let me know your thoughts, okay? Anyway, let's all maintain focus right now back to the main point and the main problem. Kathy and Axel. We zoom in, okay? I guess that is Kathy on the right and Axel is on the left. This profile picture, this profile is all public. The screenshot is of the public comment section, all publicly viewable, okay? Perfectly in line. Now, it appears that Kathy on the right is a ginger hair, and the cat on the left could be a ginger as well. So as for org dot, has your ginger cat been hanging around Kathy and Axel far too long? Okay, probably best go to the veterinary if that's the case. But yeah, that's Kathy on the right, I assume. Got a bit of a pretty stern, straight face, bit of a presence, okay? And we just read the comment out saying Albams. I assume Kathy might be referring to a person's username saying Albams. He copied people's 1-year-old son's pics and talks about their kids. That was the first comment, okay? And, some of you might be wondering, how's that even applied to Warlike Wrath? It doesn't make any sense. Well, just hold with me, bear with me, be patient. When we move on to the second screenshot, just for context, they do refer to my full name, okay? So I guess this was one of the first comments they made, accusing Warlike Wrath, saying Warlike Wrath copied people's 1-year-old son's pics and talks about their kids. Talking about kids. What is this person on? Okay, when I read this, my mind is completely blank. My levels of understanding from their point of view is completely void, empty, because how can one process this text, these accusations? Where's the proof, you'd say, first of all? And what was the motive for saying this in the first place, right? I assume it might be that backstory of looking at the comment section, as said with the previous video. But did that comment section demonstrate what this person is saying here? Not from what I know of, right? As said, all the comments and the usernames, all public information, all publicly viewable, is present, okay? So, when reading that, it kind of seems similar to the salty pancake situation and the Jim Terry stuff in the past, where they were talking about one or the other person started posting all the photos of their son or whatever online and then saying lots of bad, disgusting things about them, whatever, right? It seems similar to what we're seeing here, these claims and accusations. And supposedly there in the past, it really was the case, but here it's just been thrown about, literally. Let's just move on to the next screenshot, okay? I have not blocked it, I have, covered it with the red line, just out of the sake for, what do you call it, privacy, if you want to call it that in a sense. The reality is, okay, there'll be a fair few people or so that will know my name, and then others may roughly know, and then others don't really care, that's fine, okay? Who else is here? Guidance. Miss T is present. So, Miss T, was you aware of this? Did you see the comment? Let me know your thoughts, okay? So, Kathy and Axel saying, Bob, you should have stuck that netco perv for copying your comment section and doxing your followers that insert my name is a perv. So, it ties it in line. So what they were saying here, okay, about pics and talking about people's kids applies to this here. Right. So it ties in line with the whole motive. Kathy and Axel are basically triggered because I simply did a video, partially a part of the video, covering a public comment section which is publicly viewable, and many other people have done it before, and it's perfectly 100% normal and fine to do so. No TOS broken, it's all public, it's all publicly viewable, okay? Simple as that. And Kathy and Axel are getting Bob to take direct action in some way towards me. You should have stuck. What does that mean? Kathy and Axel wants Bob to do something to me. What does neco mean? Necrophilia? Is that what it's short for? Or is neco some kind of anime word? I've heard of it briefly in the past. Neco, anime, animation, Japanese animation. I don't know personally. And the same that Warlike Wrath for copying your comment section and doxing your followers. Well, first of all, it's not copying when Bob doesn't even do it in the first place, right? I'm arguably one of the only few to actually do like a video where I look back at comment sections of videos, both mine and other channels. So there is a level of balance there in place. Looking back to understand the situation, the thing is, Kathy and Axel, when events go on elsewhere in different communities, instead of me just simply loading up a video, hitting record, and then just me doing all the talking, I like to see it from different points of views and see what other people are thinking. It can help fill in the blanks. It's better to do that than for me to talk and make a lot of mistakes and inaccuracies because I didn't bother checking or researching, right? I'm researching on the spot, seeing what people have to say about a certain event that's gone on, and you can kind of learn on the spot. It's very effective. And it does help. It does work, okay? Now for Bob, when Bob does his live streams, his live shows, he's basically in Streamlabs, I think that's what you call it, or StreamYard, whichever one, right? On panel, he does his talking, talks about a range of stuff, he invites people onto his show, right? That's the format. in his videos, does he click off and say, right, I'm going to go into my community tab section and look back at comments? No, he doesn't do that visually on the screen. So for Bob to not do that, but for me to do so, I'm not copying. I can't be copying if that original person wasn't doing it in the first place. What I'm doing is adapting. What I'm doing is thinking outside of the box and using other resources which are publicly available to understand the story of an event, the backstory, okay? Kathy and Axel, hopefully you understand that. The part where you say, and doxing your followers. Kathy, can you please explain to what you mean by doxing? Because I think the reality is, especially when it comes to the Dylan Rounds case, the origins of all this build-up, tension, conflict, misunderstandings, labeling, key buzzwords thrown about over time, the word dox or doxing has been used very often within the Dylan Rounds community and branching outwards to the YouTube streets, as people like to call it, okay? How did I supposedly dox people when whatever was on screen at the time was all of public information and all that the contents consisted of was a comment posted public by that user with their profile picture and username publicly displayable and publicly viewable? Nothing has, gone against anything, okay? Have we encountered something like this before besides the salty pancake stuff? Yes, but it wasn't as negative or as, bashing like. Does anyone remember Jazz or Yaz Girlson? An individual from the Find Dylan Rounds Facebook page, one of the higher ups who kind of runs the page or is in some kind of control of it, who's in contact with Candice Cooley. Jazz Girlson, in contact with Candice Cooley, takes the Dylan Rounds case seriously, reached out to me at one point on my channel in a past video, acknowledging and thanking me for covering the Dylan Rounds case, saying I've done well and keeping it up. They added in a recommendation of, is it possible if you could blur out the names and stuff on Facebook because some of the people on there don't like it being shown public? Now, as for actually blowing stuff out, it wasn't really possible or practical to do, okay? And in addition, for the backstory, so people know, the Find Dylan Rounds Facebook page is a public page, all publicly viewable, with public accounts made and public comments publicly viewable. All public, not private, okay? So, if you're gonna, it's kind of like one of those things, if you're gonna go out into public, you can't complain when someone is taking a photo, a genuine photo of the landscape, and you just so happen to be in the frame of that photo. Or just like how you can be walking around in a city, town centre, and then there's CCTV cameras monitoring you, but as well many other people. You can't just suddenly stand down and think, right, I don't want anything taking photos of me, I don't want any of this, any of that. But you've involved yourself in a public environment where it's public and it's viewable, right? Yes, there might be some exceptions, but you get the rough idea, okay? Same with YouTube. Same with other social media platforms. If your account is public, you associate yourself with a public channel, community that's open and not privatized, then people are going to see it anyway, right? People are going to view it anyway. And when it comes to people's profile pictures, in which their username might be different compared to their YouTube username, yet their profile picture is the same exact one, it's pretty self-explanatory that you're going to think, oh, it's that person who's on there. Same exact one, okay? If you went behind the scenes, you hacked into this, hacked into that, got this secret sly method of getting information and then posting and get public when it was once private, yeah, you could say that's doxing, you could say that's inappropriate, bad taste, etc. Have other people done that before in this case, in this community? Probably. That's probably where those accusations have come from. And then when it's strengthened and it's, played its role. Okay, so the word doxing has been used before. So Kathy is accusing me of doxing Bob's followers. Bob Farrell, are you present right now? I'd like to know your opinion on this matter. What do you think about it? Okay? You can think for yourself, Bob, whether it's positive, negative, for or against, say what you think, okay? Don't feel that you've got to be controlled by anyone in the background, pulling strings or tugging stuff. Just let me know your thoughts in general. I do think we're in a bit of a, depends how you interpret it, right? Do you know what? Let's say this. I want everyone to really focus and understand my specific language, what I'm about to say, okay? Because it's very important. If we was to throw everything out the window and assume that a public comment section equates to doxing if you was to cover it in another video and post it public, if that's what doxing truly meant, even though it really doesn't, but in a weird, messed up, alternative, multiverse reality matrix, if that's what doxing equaled, then me having my full name or part of my name on a certain link, if you click on, if you was to give an alternative super chat, that could be classified as doxing as well, because they've mentioned my full name here, doxing me, okay? So in that alternative reality, okay, or alternative matrix, Kathy is accusing me of doxing people, and at the same time, Kathy has doxed me as well because of my name being shown public. So in that reality, Kathy, you're a bit of a hypocrite, and you've lowered yourself to what the other person's behaviour, right? That's what you've done. Now, based off that, if we just simply revert back to actual reality right now, let me click my fingers. Is everybody awake? Okay, we've escaped the simulation. We're thinking for ourselves right now. Realistic, okay? Reality. The reality is, basically speaking, is that comment section, Bob's channel, publicly viewable with comments and their usernames and profile pictures. I cover it, document it, make sense of the matter of what was going on at the time. Public video talking about public information. Kathy and Axel interprets that as doxing, even though it isn't, and at the same time actually in a way doxes me because of them stating my full name in the chat. Okay? But the difference is with me compared to this prat, who's doing a very good job of acting in such an idiosyncratic, bombastic way, you need to get a grip of yourself as well, is that I'm not going to suddenly start whinging, whining about, because reality is that, as said, you click on this link or so, alt super chat, name is there, send super chat to that named individual. It's kind of publicly viewable. So I'm not in a position to complain, whinge, whine or moan, okay? But technically, Kathy and Axel, what they're stating, they're kind of being a hypocrite, contradicting themselves for their own behaviour towards me. Yeah. Disappointing. So hopefully everybody, if not most people, understand what was talked about just then. As said, if you need to rewind back, feel free to do so. But Bob Farrell, it does appear that we do have a problem. A problem in which an individual out there who associates themselves with you at this moment in time is giving out false claims, false accusations, serious allegations, slandering my name literally in a false way. That's not good, is it? Okay, a bit problematic, very unnecessary. Them themselves going against YouTube TOS, slandering my name, false allegations without any proof. We've seen it with salty pancakes in the past. We've seen it again here. Does Kathy and Axel originate from Salty Pancakes community? I don't know. Or from Jim Terry's? Not sure. But if there's anyone in the chat right now whether you've had positive or negative experiences with Kathy and Axel, and maybe Rainbow Melon in the background. Let me know your thoughts, your experiences with these individuals, and let me know, where did they originate from? Which community, right? It's important to know. If they originated from the Salty Pancakes community, it wouldn't surprise me. The typical mass labeling with zero context type behavior. Or if it's from the Jim Terry's channel and community, it might be more of a different, darker approach, behind the scene type stuff going on. You never know. It's just getting an idea of who they are, what they're about, where they originate from, because then that can determine their type of personality and behavior. We have done it in the past, and it was pretty accurate. So it can be done again, it can be done again. Now you, Bob Farrell, you've got your own issues and problems dealing with your resistance on your channel. I don't know what you think about this situation with Kathy and Axel, but I do visualize it and see it as a bit of a problem. But if it's a problem for you, then I'm sure you can deal with it in the appropriate way. If you don't see it as a problem or issue, that's fine. As for the people that are watching right here, right now, if you believe that Kathy and Axel have been acting out in a very inappropriate way and have gone against YouTube TOS, then feel free to take action yourself within reason, within the rules and guidelines, okay? If you feel the need to take direct action, feel free to do so within reason. Key line, within reason. And then we go from there. If the issue does persist with Kathy and whoever else out there, then we will be doing another review and checking up on this ongoing issue, grudge we could call it, okay? So I think that summarizes that. As said, rewind back if you need to truly understand everything. If you're still confused, rewind back, okay? But I just wanted to cover that right now. There'll be people in the chat that will say, who cares? Forget. Never mind. Doesn't matter. Move on. Remember one thing. I can maintain balance. I can cover a case. I can be serious. I can be lighthearted, I can cover drama without really involving myself too much into it, despite being in the epicenter of it. I can look back at comments, I can do contrast, I can do comparisons, I can do outside of the box videos, I can think outside of the box, and I can do it almost all at once. Okay? So by covering this, it does not take me or drag me away from other things I should be doing, okay? It's all under control. You don't have to worry about that aspect. As for the people that will say just ignore it, bad idea. Levels of degeneracy you can ignore, but serious accusations, they need to be addressed in some way or another as soon as possible, right? Sometimes if you talk about it and you show resistance, you can get called out for doing that. Some people will interpret it as suspicious. But then other times, people that keep quiet and just move on because they've got nothing to say and they've done nothing wrong, that can still be seen as dodgy, suspicious in some people's mindsets because they're keeping quiet. Ooh, what are they hiding? It is a lose-lose situation. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. But at least in my mindset, my opinion, it needs to be covered. It needs to be addressed. It needs to be spread awareness so we know who is a prat, who is an idiot, who is impetuous, who is idiosyncratic, and maybe, just maybe, Kathy and Axel ticks most of those boxes. It is what it is, but people need to know. And especially first-time viewers, new people coming on in, first-time impressions, that can make a big statement, right? If they read the wrong thing, they may internalize it, and then that's their first impression of me, which is false, but then it leads to them showing resistance towards me for no true reason, okay? Or like proof. So that's why it needs to be cleared up as we go along. Simple as that. As said, if any of you think this is pretty serious, problematic, feel free to take action within reason, okay? Now, we need to move on to the next situation, and it's just as serious. If you haven't already known or heard about it, Bette Hayward's channel has temporarily disappeared. Now, How could you word it? Betty Hayward's channel has been terminated? No. Betty Hayward's channel has been temporarily banned? Not really, because technically Betty Hayward's channel still pops up, but when I tried searching for the channel, it didn't pop up at the time, right? A little bit confusing. As for last night, okay, I wasn't present, I was asleep, of course, time zone difference, remember that. But I did catch up on the video the following day, looked at the comment section, people seemed to enjoy the video and found it funny, that's good. Betty Hayward showed up, people were saying hi to her at the time, last night, but when I was catching up on the replay of the video and the chat replay, I saw Betty Hayward's name mentioned, but I didn't see a single comment by her, nor her profile or username showing up in the chat. She wasn't visible. So, you know, you could interpret that as, oh, has she been blocked? No, she hasn't. Haven't even touched that option, okay? So I thought, oh, well, where's her channel? Not seeing anything being talked about. So I went on YouTube earlier today, typed in Betty Hayward's channel name, didn't come up, didn't exist. There were some videos to do about her or videos she's been tagged in, but not her true channel. So I was thinking, what is going on? And then, I don't know if it was on Bob's channel or Tainted Ink, Inky Unplugged channel or somebody else's, but Betty Hayward left a comment, and I guess it's her actual account, unless it's an alt account, saying, darn, I've been put on pause. Her channel has been put on pause. So her videos are not present, viewable, and I guess she can't comment, I guess. But I just find it a bit odd. Betty, you know, if anyone can clear it up, feel free to do so, but Betty Hayward's channel is on pause. So what? You can't upload any videos onto your channel? Does that mean you can't comment as well? If you can't comment, is that why I couldn't see the comments in my video when you appeared last night? But then if that's the case, then how were you able to leave a comment on Tainted Ink's channel or whoever else is saying that you've been paused in the first place, right? When Jim Terry, Mr. X, supposedly put on pause, temporarily terminated or barred, whatever you want to call it, their channel wasn't showing up at all. And they couldn't even leave any comments because they weren't able to get access to that channel in the first place. So it's a bit odd, right, for Betty to not be able to comment or the comments to disappear in my video, but she can still comment elsewhere, unless she's got an alternative account set up temporarily. I'm not too sure what's going on. But she says she's been put on pause, her channel's on hold, because I guess someone or some people have reported her. Now, I don't know if I can find the comment on her page or try and search it up right now. I guess I could give it a try. Just do it on the spot, just in case things have updated since, and go from there. Hold with me. Right, here we are. We got some lasagna up top. I don't know what that's about, but let's just go to the section here. Endless Fashion by Lil Uzi. Oh yeah, let's get the gang music on. No, it's not no time for that. Betty Hayward time. Just see if we can find her channel first of all. Betty Hayward YouTube. Weird. See, you can see some videos there. Top one by me, of course. What's that? Oh no! Warlike Raph is doxing Warlike Raph. Oh wow, news flash, breaking news. Yeah, right. Go to the filter, channel. Betty Hayward doesn't show up. These other random channels do, but Betty Hayward isn't showing up when you type in her actual username. Why does my channel show up though? Is that because Betty Hayward secretly controls my channel? No, I think what happens is basically if you make videos and you tag that person in them, it kind of comes up in the search results, okay? But as you can see, Betty Hayward channel not coming up. Now, what about type in Inky Unplugged? Apologies if, about searching people's channels, but I'm just trying to re-find that comment that was posted by Betty Hayward. Maybe someone can, explain it. It's not there, is it? And it wouldn't be down there. Guidance. I wonder if it's Bob Farrell. I'm just trying to think. Or was it Watch It of Crazy? If I can't find it, it doesn't matter, but I just wanted to share it from her point of view. There we go. Boom, boom. This is how locked on I am. I'm able to just find it like that, okay? So, yeah, there we go, because it's to do with Bette Hayward. So Bob Farrell, 15 hours ago, as I said, this is all publicly viewable. Bob says, there are so many folks on the YouTube streets that are so talented with what they can do, making funny videos. Some of them are very good, and some, well, I can pass on. But I wish I had that kind of skill. Bette Hayward, sketchy AF. They both are very good at making videos. Okay? What's this? Kenny. It's Bette Hayward, Detective Bob. Right. Don't know what that means. Mr. Latin guy. What's up, Bette Hayward? Okay. Then you got sketchy. Thanks, Bob. Check the reply here. Bette Hayward. Actual channel there. 8 hours ago. Sketchy. My channel has been paused. And then what's this? Yeah, that's BS. Kenny, Bette is my new hero. They continue to tell shit on you and you fought right back rather than cave in and take it like other people have and still do. When's your next show? I don't want to miss it. Has Bette Hayward done a show before, an actual live stream? Now, just for context, maybe I am missing something, right? On catch up. If anyone can explain, feel free to do so. Why does something tell me that Bette Hayward did a live stream just recent or earlier on talking about stuff and then she was reported for it because she spoke her mind? Did that happen or not? Is that BS, rumour? What is Kenny on about, right? But look, there you go, Bette Hayward. Check the channel out. Bette Hayward 1001. Playlist channels not showing up. Joined 3rd of April 2023. The reason why I checked that then, right, when joined, was just in case that this account was an alternative one to Bette Hayward's actual account, right? Some people have backups, but from the looks of it, this is not a backup account. This is the account of Bette Hayward. Yet you try searching for her channel name, it doesn't show up or come up. And Bette herself said her channel is on pause at this moment in time. What does that ultimately mean, though? I assume it basically means that you can't create or upload any videos at this moment in time. But does it restrict if you can comment or not? Well, it appeared that Bette could leave a comment in the first place talking about her channel being on pause. So maybe being on pause is different to being temporarily banned, terminated, in which you've got to make an appeal, as Mr. X and Jim Toe claimed when they said they were simply put on pause. But if you did actually search for their channel, it wouldn't show up and they didn't comment or couldn't comment on videos on YouTube at the time, nor can they still now because they are terminated, right? So Bette Hayward, you saw a channel still, it still showed up, but just not searching for it. So I guess some things are disabled. Now, very randomly, well, not randomly, what I did do at first, earlier on, when I was looking at the comment section of my video yesterday, I couldn't see Bette Hayward's comments, so I thought, is for some weird reason, is she blocked? So when I found that comment, I went onto her channel, went to the About section, clicked on the drop-down menu where it would normally say block, if you used to block someone. And I was thinking maybe if I click on that, it might give the option to unblock if one accidentally blocked her in the first place. But that option wasn't even showing. There was no block option whatsoever or unblock option. So that must tie in with her channel being on pause, right? Now, reality is Bette Hayward wouldn't have been blocked because from the time of when I did the video yesterday and I was fast asleep when that video was underway and Bette Hayward was commenting okay at the time, waking up in the morning to then go onto my video and look back at the comments, and then for them not to show up, that is a bit weird, but I guess it ties in line with a channel being put on pause. Now, who is ultimately responsible for it, right? Is it Jim Terry? Is it one of Jim Terry's followers? You never know, right? As said, it all comes down to how many enemies do you have and where do they come from? And based off who they are, what type of methods will they partake in if you get onto the wrong side of them, right? We have seen it in the past. Now, when it came to Inky Unplugged, supposedly her channel was taken down as well. It wouldn't show up, you couldn't view it, you couldn't see it. And people were saying, yeah, channel's been taken down. But then, some weeks ago, with her presence being back up on YouTube, she said that she took a break from YouTube. Now, if you are present Tainted Ink, can you confirm taking a break was all by your own choice and decision? Does that explain to why your channel wasn't viewable either? Did you set it private? Or did it coincide with you taking a break because someone tried to shut you down? I do remember it coinciding at a time when 28 Alice channel was shut down, right? So I don't know if there's a link there. Kaylee with the dodgy laugh, her channel got shut down in the past around the time when Pancake's channel was terminated, but Kaylee was able to get her channel back, I guess, through an appeal, and it was successful, and her channel is back up on YouTube ever since, right? Salty Pancakes, though, no. He does have an alternative account, though, on YouTube, which some would label as ban evading. Jim Terry, Mr. X, they've been terminated from YouTube for good, though Mr. X did have a little background alternative account on YouTube, but I've not seen it ever since. Any other people, any other channels shut down? Not that I'm aware of, but Bette Hayward on pause, but the channel is still viewable, but the content isn't. What happens next? Can a successful appeal be made? You probably think so. Now, at least from what I've seen, I've not seen Bette Hayward do anything bad or go against guidelines, like she's been on good behaviour. Sounds like I'm petting a dog there, apologies, but you know, you understand what I mean. She's been on good behaviour, she hasn't caused any trouble on my channel, and she's had a good sense of humour as well, and she's like laughed along and got on well with most of the people here, and most of the people here get on well with Bette, so that's fine. As for Bette Hayward's actual channel or community page, that's been pretty quiet, right? She's not uploaded any more videos since, and that was partially because she said she felt trapped in the presence of, I guess, Jim Terry, Mr. X, and other people around her at the time, right? Trying to break away from it, but unable to at the time. Community page, not much there. There wasn't much to go off from to say, yes, Bette Hayward has done this wrong and that wrong. She hasn't. Okay? Maybe one of the only few wrongs she's done in some people's mindsets is simply walking away because she had the choice to, she wanted to, and she wanted a break. But in some people's eyes, that is illegal, going against a contract, even though there isn't a contract, which is a bit odd. So I guess because Bette Hayward doing her own thing, thinking for herself, has led to people in the background reporting her. To get her in trouble, I guess, to get some revenge in the hopes of maybe clawing back Bette Hayward and getting her back into the darkness, probably. So if, you know, any more context needs to be added, corrected, feel free to do it down below. If you got your own comments or questions, list that down below. If you do have any grievances, list it down below, okay? And we'll see what happens from there. So, you know, once again, twists and turns, whether it be in the Dylan Rounds case or not, YouTube streets, that line I never really use myself, but I guess other people do. Yeah, it's weird. Certain key individuals being targeted, right? Bob Farrell saying that his Facebook has been hacked numerous times, people saying bad things about him under his username at the time. You got Linda Cushing being hacked or silenced at some point. You had Christie getting temporarily banned on YouTube for commenting, but then that was reversed, which was random. All these different people being targeted. You got famous Up in the background not commenting because people have threatened her that they'll report her and shut her channel down, and she doesn't want that. So instead she'll keep her voice quiet and not comment on my videos, because if she does, she'll get reported, which is a bit weird. Anyone else? There'll probably be a few other people. But yeah, anyone in the background, anyone secretly watching right now, I'm roughly aware of you watching, okay? Hopefully you understand this video, and let me know your thoughts down below if you're able to, okay? We'll leave it there for now. Thanks for watching, goodbye and good night.